The Sports Show. Mike Max, Patrick Rossi, Lou Nanne, and Sid Hartman. Sid, there's a lot to take a bite out of this week between the NBA, the Big Ten, the Gophers, the Big Ten Network, on and on. But let's start with the Vikings, your official statement on what happened today.
Without Percy Harvin, they won a game last week without him.
Yeah.
They ain't going to win any games without Percy Harvin.
But they won without him 2 weeks ago.
They got that Simpson today. He must have dropped 5 balls right in his hands. I mean, Rudolph caught a few balls today, but I feel sorry for Ponder. He has no receivers. And you don't win without receivers. And the thing is, when you take Harvin out of the lineup, those other guys are worth about
5 cents.
5 cents because there's no threat. They don't have anybody to double cover Harvin, so they can cover those guys, and they're brutal. They got a terrible call though on that interference. I don't know if that decided the game, but that was terrible.
Yep. Well, if you're a big fan of offensive football, watching the Minnesota teams this weekend didn't do much for the heart, did it?
A first down was like a touchdown, you know.
Gophers, what'd they have? They had
4 yards rushing.
4 yards rushing, lowest total in 100 years.
96 yards total.
I mean, Peterson had 108 yards, but Chicago didn't care.
No.
As long as you can't hurt them with the pass, they don't care.
Chicago was real good. They lost 5 key players today and still won the game. Cutler was just sensational. He was so good, got rid of the ball quickly. He gets out of the pocket, he moves just away from the guys far enough, and he hits his receivers. And Marshall was sensational.
They got no coverage. Vikings can defend the pass worth a darn.
Yeah,
every team they play has a picnic throwing the ball.
Yeah, but they defended a few times where he just made great throws.
Yeah.
The good thing about this guy is, unlike the rest of them, he doesn't have to set his feet. He can just, he can do it with the shoulder and the arm. He can make these bullet throws.
How about the protection he had?
Pretty good today. What happened last week? They were against San Francisco. It was a jailbreak.
Nobody touched him today.
When Cutler, remember, there was rumors about the Vikings trying to get Cutler before they got Favre back in the day. And I remember Brian Billick was in town, and I said, would you do that? And he says, I'm not coaching because I could not develop a quarterback. He said, developing a quarterback is the toughest thing to do. If you can buy a quarterback that's proven or trade for one, you do it. What do you think about Ponder?
Well, I don't know. I think Ponder will be all right once they get some receivers. What do you think of that? If they get, when Harvin's healthy, he's not too bad. They don't have any receivers. They need receivers.
Okay.
Jenkins is ordinary. Tell me what good receivers they got outside of Harvin and maybe Rudolph. Who else have they got?
Well, they had Jarius Wright in the end zone today, and he kept it for 2 extra counts and didn't throw the ball to him when he was open. That would have been a touchdown.
Do you think, Louis, though, you've developed players and all, is that the toughest position in all sport to develop, to make a guy better? I mean, is this something that's more hardwired than anything else? Either you have it or you don't?
I would think quarterback and 3 positions I think are always the toughest: quarterback, pitching, and goaltending. They're tough to play, they're tough to learn, and to be real good at it, you got to be special.
And
Yeah,
they
what
also
is the
decide
special?
whether you win or lose.
Yeah, that's right.
What is the special factor?
Well, I think it's, we used to have a thing called elongated time, and that means the game slows down for you. And the players that play those 3 positions, especially goaltending and quarterback, the game's got to slow down. They got to, just like Cutler showed today, they release the ball just before they're tackled. Goalie stops the puck the last second, his glove is there. The game just slows down for them, and they're able to play the game a little better because they have a better feel being able to operate in a longer sequence.
Cutler had a great day today, but he's had a lot of bad days too.
Oh,
He was outstanding today because they had no pass rush, and
but he still has the ability to get rid of the ball fast, and he's still accurate.
How about the catch of that boy from St. Michael Albertville? That was quite a catch by Matt Spaeth.
And interesting, I talked to Spaeth the other day, and I was asking about Cutler, and he said Cutler and Roethlisberger, I didn't think he'd make this comparison, are very similar. He said they're tough guys, and guys rally around that. I didn't think Cutler and would be in the same category as Roethlisberger, but apparently amongst his teammates, he's seen as tough.
Roethlisberger does it by just standing there like a statue and letting guys bounce off him.
Yeah.
This guy moves a little
bit. He's a big horse. He's pretty tough to knock down, but he gets hurt all the time.
Well,
he's out again. He's out again now.
Moose Johnson, the broadcaster today, was complimentary to Cutler all the way through, talking about how tough he is. So it's not just amongst the teammates. Many people in broadcasting feel the same.
Why did Denver get rid of him then?
I don't know.
Oh,
He
he's
was-
got the
I was
personality
going to say,
of
he's
a,
not the nicest guy in the world.
the personality of a serial killer, but you know.
I've
but
never
he can
asked you
play.
this.
He's got
Sid,
talent.
Maniago or Worsley? Who did you like for one game? Who would you take?
Worsley.
Why?
Because he had something, I think he would win.
Yep.
Play the puck off his forehead. That was.
That was
me
his
tell you
strategy,
something.
huh?
Well, we needed him for one game.
I
and he did in
had-
Philadelphia.
That son of a gun, I had more fun with him. He pulled more tricks. He was a cutie boy.
Worsley?
You kind of liked him, huh?
I did like him.
You liked his
fat
build.
guys. He likes
Take a
us
break,
short,
come
fat
back.
guys.
Great holidays going on at the J.D. Hoyt's. Boys, stop on by, have a little holiday party there in the back room. We've had some parties there before, and they are outstanding. Check into it. J.D. Hoyt's, conveniently located in downtown Minneapolis. The Gopher football team has seen just about everything, and this past week they saw more of everything. A.J. Barker quits the team. Coach Kill has a seizure. The team plays a terrible game against Michigan State. Official statement.
Well, the way I look at it right now, I want to see him get all these guys healthy. Then I want to see how they play in a bowl game, and then I'll give you a better idea how they're going to be. I talked to Pat Smith today. He told me that he's been at the University of Minnesota 28 years as doctor. Never has he come close to what happens today. He stands there on the sidelines, and guys get hurt in practice. He said he never seen anything like it. He outlined all the different injuries they had. It's unbelievable. They've lost 21 players who have missed a number of games. And we'll find out when they're healthy. We'll see.
So that's your assessment?
That's my assessment. My assessment, I want to see what happens if they get everybody healthy. And I think the
might get to
jury's
play
still
Iowa
out on
State.
the quarterback. He hasn't set the world on fire. I thought he had receivers open yesterday that he can come close to. So we'll see.
Well, he would have had the same problem if he hit his receivers yesterday too. Phil Nelson, right? They dropped a bunch of
Yeah.
those. They dropped a bunch for him too. So.
Yeah.
Louis, you were there.
Well, yesterday they were hanging in the game. It was amazing. You know, they
Because
were
Michigan
win-
State would
it was-
self-destruct in
it
the red
was
zone
amazing.
every time.
And I thought maybe it's going to be one of those games.
Yeah,
when
where you sneak
you're
one
gonna
at the end and-
sneak a game, but they couldn't stop the running back. Bell was just unbelievable.
They don't blow the coverage on that one touchdown.
And
The
Michigan
game
State
is right
dominated.
to the end.
Michigan State finally in the second half decided just to run the ball rather than try and throw it, and then that's when the game was over. It couldn't stop
I mean,
it.
this outdoor football at TCF Bank Stadium when it's cold like that. What do you think?
Dress warm.
How would you know?
Or
you were,
buy a ticket like
you were
me
inside
upstairs.
watching.
You know,
right,
we
I
were
was in the
inside. We were inside around here for 30 years, and we thought we couldn't wait to get outside. But this is it, folks. This is what it's like.
Yep.
Well,
You know?
you're not gonna have many of them. Maybe
No.
one game a year.
Yeah. All right.
Actually, they only missed it by 2 days. It
Yeah.
would have been nice.
Yeah.
but-
Yes.
Listen, these people are used to the Metrodome, and they're not going back to that cold weather. Yesterday, I thought the crowd was pretty good considering the weather, and I thought they hung in there pretty well. But I'll tell you what, when they don't play somebody decent, they're going to have problems.
They wouldn't have had as many people in the Metrodome yesterday anyway. They wouldn't have had any more. So the crowd
think
was
they will.
decent for what
I
it was.
think they would.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
They wouldn't
surprised.
have
Yeah.
sold it out or anything.
I know we've gone through 40 years of, you know, mediocrity at best, but does the Gopher football have any idea how far down their brand is? I mean, they got the new stadium, you got a coach that was popular with the people, and yet this year they had a hell of a time trying to, and they had a reasonable season, and they had a hell of a time drawing anybody. I don't get it.
It ain't working, whatever that is, whatever it is to get people to come out. You know,
You could have counted the students yesterday.
Again, yeah.
You could have gone down there and counted them.
A.J. Barker leaves the team. He's a walk-on. People probably know the story. Now, hang on. Now, if you were running the program, you've talked a lot about you never let good players go, never, ever, ever.
Well,
Should they have given him a scholarship earlier, made a commitment to him, a scholarship to him? Because clearly, every day the kid walks out to practice, he's looking, going, I'm better than him, and they got scholarships.
Here's the point. The guy had caught one ball before this season.
Yep.
You either give him the scholarship before the season, or you can't give it to him.
But you could promise it. You
could
could
have promised him
verbalize
a
it.
scholarship.
What would you do?
In this case, he was defending the trainer. Barker got out
Yeah.
of line with the trainer.
Yep, no question.
And he was defending the trainer. He tried to do everything he could after that thing happened. He got A.J. Barker alone.
Yep, and thought he had
Sat
smoothed it
down
over.
with him
Yep.
And said, I'm sorry this whole thing happened and all this kind of stuff. A.J. Barker ain't got a brain in his head. He'd have got his scholarship. He'd have got everything. But if he got the scholarship, he'd have probably stayed. But he didn't get it, so that's it.
I've talked to the kid 2-3 times, and he comes from an interesting family. Intellectual folks. He's
Yeah.
got he's got 2 brothers, or all 3 of them are intelligent as can be. And I think the kid is one of those guys that says, you're not going to manipulate me. You're not going to call me out in front of the team and then 20 minutes
Absolutely.
later want to be my best friend. He's just that kind of kid. He's not.
I agree.
I'm sure that throughout his coaching career, Jerry Kill has succeeded by screaming at people for 20 minutes and then loving them up later. But this
Exactly.
is a different kind of kid.
Louis?
Well, times have changed. And back in a few years back, and more than a few years back, that was just a common practice. Coaches would really bite your head off in every sport. And I know when John Mariucci was like my second father. I never played a period. He would not leave the locker room without really cutting me up one side and the other. And he did this for my 4 years, and when it was over, he says, you know, I had to do that to you. You were my best player, and I felt that when I did it to you, everybody else knew that, there was no
But Louis,
we're off limits. So
Louis,
that's changed now.
this would have worked, even today's kid, this would have worked with 95% of
I
it.
agree with
I'm
Patrick.
going to say that. So that's what I
95%
said.
of his roster.
But
it would've
today
worked.
we've got some different individuals.
Yeah.
And even in all sports and hockey, I've seen it. There's always a couple guys that react differently to it.
Yeah.
And the problem is, as a coach, you better be aware of who it is and be aware before it happens, because it could result
Well,
in something
Lucia
like
went
this.
through a lot of that.
Yeah.
I think that's everybody talks about the players who left. I think some of the players who stayed were his problem.
Yeah.
No,
you
I
had
agree with
kids who-
Patrick does. I'm sure that this is Jerry Kill's way of coaching. It works most of the
Yeah.
time. Once in a while, you get a kid and he says, wait a second, I got this figured out. I can leave. They can't hold me back because I'm a walk-on. He hasn't given me a scholarship, and I'm not afraid of him.
But the problem is, you go into another team that might have the same kind of coach, or the coach that does the same thing in all probability.
He'll
So
be
now what do
beating-
you got?
You
Yeah.
think some Division
Now
One
where are you?
schools are going to
Yeah, I do. I think that 5
I think,
have already
yeah,
contacted him,
yeah.
but I think he's a great guy to bring
I'll
in.
make you a
Yeah.
bet.
I'll tell you why.
Oh, he will.
He's only got
Thomas.
He'll get a
That's where-
scholarship.
No, he's not gonna. He's only got 1 year. He's going to be on his best behavior, and he's a good player. I'd take him in a minute.
So would I.
You know?
But I'm just saying, he might get the same kind of treatment when he's there.
Right.
But at least it's going to be his choosing where he wants to
Right,
go.
but if he reacts
And
again, then it's his
will
fault.
Yeah, but he will get a scholarship,
Yep.
so he's not going to.
I don't think you get a scholarship.
He will, Sid.
For
How much
one
you
year.
want to bet?
Okay, Mike and I are going to make a bet again. We're trying to get some money
This
out of
is
it. We
a
try
free
this
player.
all the time.
How many times does a coach get a shot at a proven Big Ten player?
And how many times can we
proven
ask him
one
to
game.
bet?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, no.
I'll guarantee he's
One
better
game,
than
he
me.
was their leading receiver.
He was good all year.
And he's good.
He
No
is good.
question about it. Take a break, come back.
He's got-
There it is, Kira Saudi. Stop
Eight
on by.
runs
See
in
Bruce
50
Bonine and the
yards.
whole crew. That Q7's just dying to be driven this winter, and it is so comfortable and so warm. Louis enjoyed the ride out here today. In just that, welcome back.
Say,
to the
Maxie,
sports-
I'd like to mention the death of Kevin McHale's
Yeah.
youngest daughter,
Just
Sasha.
sad.
It's a terrible deal. Louis, you just went through it with your son Michael. There can't be anything worse than
There isn't.
losing a son or a daughter, and Kevin is
22-year-old daughter.
23.
23, yeah.
She was an all-state basketball player at Totino Grace.
They went to state tournament, yeah.
She was I'm pretty close to McHale family. She was kind of the real character in the whole family, and he's taking this thing pretty hard, boy.
Well, I would imagine.
What do you say? I
pretty
mean,
rough.
like I said, Louis
I'll tell
just
you
went
that.
through. There's nothing you can say.
No.
Is that?
There's
You went in
nothing
there-
good about it.
Yeah.
It's the toughest thing you could ever go through.
Yeah, well, our sympathies go out to that entire family tonight. Of lesser importance, but certainly interesting, is this Big Ten adding everybody in the country now. What do you think of Rutgers and Maryland coming in?
Well,
We all know it's about cable TV, but what do you think about that?
I don't think there's any rivalry there. Rutgers, are they going to draw any people here? Is Maryland going to draw any people here? They don't care about that. They're going to take Georgia Tech, I thought it was Georgia, and North Carolina in if they can work it out in the next 3-4 weeks. All they care about is the number of households
Cable subscribers.
they can
Yep, we
get
know that.
watching Big Ten
Yeah, and look
Big
at
Ten football, basketball, hockey.
In the ACC, all of a sudden it's hurting. If the Gophers, if this league takes North Carolina and Georgia Tech, and Florida State supposedly shopping around, they're either going to go to the Big 12 or the SEC for another expansion there. There's going to be 4 16-team conferences when this is all over.
If I'm the Gophers, I wouldn't play North Carolina unless I get $800,000.
Back, I want the money. We're not
That's going to
playing.
be the joke of this.
We won't play you.
I'm not playing. Don't put him on my schedule, Delaney, because I won't play him unless I get $800,000.
But you think about this, Big Ten Network really doesn't have very good programming except for football. But now they're going to have hockey, and there's talk that they're going to play hockey games, Tuesday, Wednesday maybe, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now you take basketball, which you can play 7 days a week, basically once you set your schedule up with a big conference like this. I mean, you're going to be able to fill your...
And they are good basketball schools.
And they're good basketball schools.
Now, until this year, they only could have one game on. Like yesterday, they had Purdue and Indiana, and they had Northwestern and Illinois. I mean, they will have 3 and 4 games on the same day.
And they'll try to figure out a way maybe to get a Friday night game
or
something.
Let's say you get a 16-team league. 2 8-team divisions, okay, if that's what they're going to do, unless they go to pods. They're also talking about 4-team pods. But that's 7 of your conference games. Does that mean we play Wisconsin and we never play Ohio State? Is that what that means?
I don't know how you get to the match, because if you want to keep your rivals.
And you have the dummies.
Yep.
Which I think they should do away with those. At least don't play 4 of them. Play 2 out of conference.
Play 2 non-conference games.
Yeah.
Well, they'll never go over 9. They'll never play more than 9.
What they got to do is put the new teams in their own division and their old Big Ten teams in the same division.
Well, then
you
they'd have
play
to
them at some point in time. They'd have
to have conference. Then they'd have to have 4-team pods, and we'd probably end up with Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska would be stuck out here probably.
But that wasn't what they had in mind. They got Wisconsin at 4-4 playing for the Big Ten championship.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, they got a couple of former Gopher coaches handling the defense on that Penn State who've done a fantastic job.
Penn State and Ohio State have been unbelievable.
How about that guy's press conference? Bill O'Brien?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
He ain't going to be there long.
Oh, I tell you what, though.
He'll be in the NFL maybe next year.
No, he said he won't leave.
He says...
He said he won't leave.
They asked him about having this good a season. He says, we got some bleepers on this team. At the open press conference, he dropped the big F-bomb as praise to his team.
It was a praise when it was
praise. Yeah. We got
he was in
tough
New England
bleepers.
when they're winning all these games. Don't forget that.
We know that. Take a break, come back, stay with us. There it is, Plays 60. Check it out, tasteofthenfl.com, and help fight hunger. Taste the NFL, always on a mission with Wayne Kostrowski. Check it out at Taste of the NFL. Of course, the Super Bowl coming up, and Wayne will be there in full force in New Orleans. Normally, Sydney, I defer to you first in each segment to give us kind of an expert and senior opinion. But since we're now to the NHL lockout part of this program, we go to Louis first. It seems like it's getting worse.
It seems like it's getting worse because now they're starting to talk about decertification. If the union decertifies, then that can do a lot of things. And one of the things it can do, first of all, is make for a long process if they go through with it and the owners fight it. Hey, you've seen football, they fought it. And
I never understood what came out of that.
Fear's been doing this for 25 years, decertifying.
And if they decertify, and if they don't get a deal done within a couple of weeks after that, this season's over, and then they better worry about next season if the owners want to fight it.
The NFL, didn't the NFL boys, they decertified or they were in the process.
And the union won. The union won in the lower court. Then it got overturned, but it never went farther than that because they settled. And this might be one of the ploys he does. But if he does that, which is going to surprise me because you've got some players now like Hammerlick from Montreal Canadiens came out and says maybe we should have a vote on this offer. From the players, and Eric Cole came back and says, no, we're all in this together, and Hammerlick says, yeah, he's in it because he just got a new 3-year contract and he got some money up front. I'm 38, I'm making $3.5 million, might be my last year.
they gave Fear all power. He doesn't have to take a vote, right? Nobody can make
That's
him
exactly
take a vote.
right. He can't.
To take the job,
But
they
he
gave
says
him
he would
all
listen
power.
to the players.
Yeah, sure he would.
Did Parisi and Sauer, did they get their
10 million.
up front?
10 million
They got
each.
that right in
Yeah,
August. That
yeah.
that had nothing to do with
Nothing to
independent
do.
enough, right?
Right.
They had all their
Right.
teammates over for Thanksgiving, I heard. They could afford the turkey. Yeah, those two guys.
Yeah, it's the most stupid thing I've ever heard. These players, they're all not starving to death. They're like Sprewell. He couldn't feed his family at $15 million a year.
Yeah,
As it
these
turned out, he
NHL
went
owners are all
bankrupt.
screwed up.
But they're not making peanuts.
Right, that's
They're
not
all-
the problem.
what's
It's
the
the
minimum?
owners that
Not
are
all of them
They're
are
not
making-
screwed up. How can you say they're screwed up?
They just in general are.
I think you're wrong there.
Because I knew it would get
is,
you going.
yeah.
That's why I said that.
What's the minimum?
The minimum is 525,000 or so, but the average is 2.45
Yeah, well, if
million.
you're paying
You live on
Canadian
that?
taxes, that means you get
Yeah.
about 200 grand.
That's the biggest problem that people don't realize. The owners have seen that they're 181
Save
million
some of that
apart.
for next week, okay? Okay. Sports show. Thanks for watching. See you back here next week, everybody.